Wednesday, July 29th. Let us start with what is right in front of us. Everyone assumes that Jason is simply enjoying his newfound freedom. Most viewers believe that his emotional, tear-filled reunion with Carly and Sonny is exactly what it looks like on the surface. A loyal soldier coming home to his family after a harrowing ordeal. The audience is meant to think that Jason is just taking a breath, soaking in the love, and trying to put the nightmare behind him. He smiles, he hugs his loved ones, and he looks like a man who has finally found peace after months of sheer terror and isolation. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, the obvious explanation seems to be that Marshall is just acting like a proud, doting grandfather. He returns to town, visits Portia, and happily holds baby Desmond in his arms. It looks like a picture-perfect, heartwarming family moment meant to give the audience a break from the heavy drama. We are supposed to look at Marshall, Portia, and little Desmond and feel a profound sense of peace, believing that Curtis finally has the happy family dynamic he has fought so hard to build over the years. And then we have the younger crowd. Most viewers believe that Jocelyn is just being defensive when she faces a barrage of intense questions from Emma and Trina. Her agency affiliation has been exposed, and she is standing her ground, defending her career choices to her friends. People think this is just a standard ethical debate between friends who are growing apart. At the same time, over at the boathouse, everyone assumes that Nina and Jack are simply leaning on Gio because they are desperate to find Drew. They want to control the narrative, and Gio is their best lead. When they find out Drew is already home, the audience assumes their shock is just about losing the upper hand in a corporate or personal rivalry. And when Drew suddenly appears in the dark, terrifying Willow, the obvious explanation seems to be that he is just a vengeful ex-partner ready to expose her and Nina to the world. Add in Michael acting weird and confusing Jacinda, and Rocco dealing with lingering trauma from the shooting, and it all looks like standard, predictable fallout. But what if we're looking at this the wrong way? What if that wasn't the real reason for any of these events? Let us dive into the alternative story, because the speculation right now is absolutely mind-blowing. Let us start with Jason. What if Jason did not just come home to celebrate? What if he brought something incredibly dangerous back with him from his time in captivity? This behind-the-scenes possibility suggests that Jason is not just relaxing with Carly and Sonny. He is quietly, methodically observing everyone. He might be carrying a massive intelligence secret, acting as a sleeper agent or a silent guardian, waiting for a specific trigger. He is watching the board, calculating his next move, and keeping Carly and Sonny completely in the dark to protect them. Jason's silence is not peace. It is preparation for a war that only he knows is coming. Now, let us talk about that supposedly sweet family reunion. I keep wondering whether Marshall's visit to Portia and Desmond is going to end in absolute disaster. What if Marshall notices something while holding the baby? A specific physical trait, a medical marker, or just an undeniable genetic echo that sparks a terrifying realization. What if Marshall realizes that Desmond cannot possibly be the biological child of Curtis? If this rumor is true, Portia is hiding a DNA shock that will completely shatter their family. And knowing Marshall, he will not just let this go. He will start digging, and that investigation could expose secrets that Portia has buried deep. The entire foundation of their family is sitting on a ticking time bomb, and Marshall might be the one who accidentally cuts the wrong wire. And what about Emma? She is not just going to accept Jocelyn's polished defensive answers about her secret government work. Emma is too smart and too curious for her own good. This unconfirmed information suggests that Emma's frustration will push her to start her own amateur investigation into the agency. But you do not just poke a sleeping dragon without getting burned. What if Emma accidentally uncovers a massive, active conspiracy? By trying to prove a point to Jocelyn, Emma could inadvertently paint a massive target on her own back, becoming the next primary target for a rogue faction. Jocelyn might think she is protecting her friends by keeping them out of the loop, but her secrecy is exactly what is driving Emma directly into the crosshairs of highly trained assassins. This brings us to the most intense part of the leak, the situation at the boathouse. Nina and Jack are pressuring Gio, but what if Jack's desperation has nothing to do with helping Nina? What if Jack is terrified because the agency has been hiding a colossal secret, and he knows that Drew has somehow figured it out? When Drew appears in the dark before a terrified Willow, he is not just there to ruin her life out of petty revenge. The speculation is that Drew's near-death experience in the lake changed him fundamentally. He did not just survive, he learned something. He realized who is really pulling the string. Drew is now armed with information that makes him the most dangerous man in town. He is no longer the victim. He is the apex predator. There may be more going on here, especially regarding the leverage Jack thinks he has. Jack believes he can use his evidence to force Willow and Nina into submission. But what if the tables turn completely? What if Drew corners Jack and threatens to expose the entire shadow operation unless Jack permanently deletes all evidence of Drew's past crimes? Imagine the look on Willow's face if she secretly witnesses this exchange. She thinks Drew is a threat to her, but suddenly she sees him backing a powerful, dangerous man like Jack into a corner. Willow would realize that Drew is operating on a terrifying new level, and her own petty schemes with Nina are nothing compared to the war Drew is currently waging in the shadows. This perfectly explains why Michael is acting so bizarrely and completely confusing Jacinda. Michael is not just distracted, he is running a highly sophisticated misdirection campaign. He knows something is wrong, and he is secretly investigating a major player, perhaps Jack, perhaps the rogue agents, or perhaps even Jason's true motives. Michael is keeping Jacinda in the dark and acting erratically, specifically to protect her and to keep his enemies from realizing he is onto them. His cold, calculating demeanor is a mask, and Jacinda's frustration is just collateral damage in a much larger game of chess. And Rocco? Rocco's lingering anxiety after the shooting is not just post-traumatic stress. His intuition is screaming at him because the real mastermind is still out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. While the adults are busy playing their games, Rocco is hyper-vigilant, sensing a predator in the grass that everyone else is ignoring. Let us break this down into multiple scenarios, because there are several ways this explosive rumor could play out on screen. That's one possibility. Scenario 1 revolves around a complete shadow war. In this version of events, Jason and Jack are actually working on opposite sides of a deeply buried agency conflict. Jason was sent back to observe and dismantle Jack's network from the outside, while Jack is desperately trying to maintain control. Drew, through sheer luck or intense survival instinct during his lake ordeal, stumbled upon the encryption keys or the hidden files that prove this shadow war exists. Emma, in her quest to expose Jocelyn's lies, hacks into the wrong server and accidentally downloads the very data that Jason and Jack are willing to kill for. In this scenario, all these isolated characters collide in a massive, high-stakes espionage thriller. But another theory is scenario 2, the DNA leverage. What if the secret surrounding baby Desmond is not just a domestic soap opera cheating scandal? What if Desmond's true biological father is a high-ranking official within a rogue agency or a dangerous international criminal? If Marshall discovers that Curtis is not the father, it doesn't just break Curtis's heart. It makes Portia and the baby highly valuable assets or targets for dangerous people. Jack might be looking for Drew not because of government secrets, but because Drew somehow knows the truth about Desmond's paternity and was planning to use it. This would mean Michael's secret investigation is actually focused on protecting his extended family from this incoming threat, purposely confusing Jacinda so she doesn't accidentally leak information to the wrong people. Let us look at scenario 3, the ultimate blackmail triangle. In this possibility, no one is the good guy. Drew is blackmailing Jack with the secrets he uncovered. Jack, in turn, is blackmailing Nina and Willow to do his dirty work to neutralize Drew. Willow, trapped in the middle, witnesses Drew threatening Jack and realizes she has to play them against each other to survive. Jason is observing this entire toxic triangle, waiting for them to destroy each other so he can sweep in and clean up the mess. Meanwhile, Rocco's paranoia is entirely justified because the person who orchestrated the shooting is actually the one funding Jack's operation, and they are getting impatient with the lack of results. If you ask me, there is one behind-the-scenes possibility that is more dangerous and terrifying than anything we have discussed so far. What if Drew did not just learn a secret at the lake? What if he was actively recruited, or even brainwashed, by the true mastermind? The person who orchestrated the shooting that traumatized Rocco is the same person who holds the strings to Jack's operation, and now they own Drew. Drew appearing in the dark to Willow isn't a threat of exposure, it is a recruitment pitch. He wants Willow to join this dark faction. Jason isn't just observing, he is paralyzed by the realization that the enemy is already inside the gates. And Emma's investigation is going to lead her straight to this mastermind. And she will realize too late that Jocelyn's defense was actually a desperate attempt to warn her to stay away. The DNA shock with Desmond will be the final distraction this mastermind needs to launch a full-scale purge of the town, using Michael and Jacinda's confusion as the perfect cover to strike. I keep wondering whether the writers are brave enough to pull the trigger on a storyline this dark and interconnected. Something about this feels hidden, like we are only seeing the shadows on the wall while the real monsters are moving behind the curtain. Will Jason's secret observation backfire and destroy his fragile reunion with Carly and Sunny? Will Marshall's discovery tear Portia and Curtis apart forever? Will Emma's curiosity cost her everything? Or will she be the one to expose the rot within the establishment? And what happens when Willow fully understands the monster Drew has become in the dark? We cannot confirm anything just yet, and the studio is keeping everything locked down tight. This could all be true, or it could be a masterful misdirection by the network. But one thing is absolutely certain. There is a storm coming, and the secrets these characters are keeping will not stay buried for long. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and keep your eyes peeled, because the truth is going to be wild.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.